Hey, this is head coach Clemente Bonilla, Capistrano Valley Baseball Program, and we are here on the CVCS Baseball Podcast. I am super excited to introduce our two guests today, arguably the two best pitchers in the history of CVCS baseball, and without argue, the best left-handed pitchers, undebatable, undeniable, in the CVCS history. They, for a better part of 10 years, owned literally every career and single-season record if you put their stats together, including even postseason records. Just a real treat to have the two left-handed pitchers here for the discussion in our Episode 5. We have 2012 graduate Samuel Eichler, Sammy, and we have AJ Discenzo, graduate of 2014.
Yeah, well, really appreciate the invite, Chach. You know, it's always good coming back to CVCS where you start your career and start your roots. And, yeah, it's just always a pleasure getting a chance to just come back to where it all started.
Yeah, I love to see you. AJ, good to see you. Good morning.
Yeah, long time no see. Obviously, we see each other a lot. Been coaching here now for a while, so it's cool to just see Sammy, obviously, and it's cool to be back here talking baseball with him, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, you guys actually had a chance to be teammates 1 year, correct?
1 year, yeah, 2012.
That would have been your senior year, AJ's freshman year. Yeah, we'll dive into that in just a little bit, but let's start off with the early years. This is pre-high school. I know AJ had been at CVCS well before I was here. I believe, Sammy, let's start with you. You were here for CVCS before I even started working here. Is that correct?
I think it would have been around the same time you might have started. I know that prior to me coming to CVCS, my family has had history here. I know my cousins, Scott and Jeff, back in the 90s, graduated early 90s from here, and then my sister and brother also did elementary school here and then eventually came back for high school. I started junior high here back in 2008. So, yeah, very long storied history here.
Oh, wow. Okay, so my first year as a coach here was 2007.
Okay.
So what grade? I believe you were in junior high here for a year or two, correct?
Yeah, and one of the first memories I actually had was we had a practice at Capo High School, and you were hitting fungos, and you were really encouraging us to really just go out and just give that extra effort, and I ended up just getting this really gnarly raspberry on my right arm diving for a ball, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is what kind of coach this guy is. So, no, those early days were really fun.
Yeah, that was reminding me of a story, going all out. I don't remember if this is your freshman or sophomore year. I believe freshman year you're in high school, and we're practicing here on the CVCS turf field over here, and we're doing fly balls, and I slice one a little bit to the right. I'm a little bit worried that it might even go into the street. It does not, but Sammy going all out, full, freshman lefty, trying to track this thing down, has no care in the world for the gutter, the iron rod fence that encloses the school and gives us some security. He just goes flying right into it, crashes into it, arms and legs through it, and like a cartoon just peels off and falls in, and everybody's just running, hey, like, get the medics, like, and he just bounces up after like 10 or 15 seconds and says, let's do it again. So that's Sammy for you. AJ, you, correct me if I'm wrong, you were a Eagle lifer.
Yep.
So you were definitely here well before I was. My first year of full-time, I was an off-campus coach in 2007. I became the PE teacher in 2008, and I believe you were in the 5th grade?
I think so. It was 5th grade sounds right. But, yeah, I started here in kindergarten. It's pretty crazy thinking about it now. 20-plus years I've been here almost now, just in general. But, yeah, it was definitely a lot of changes. When I was in kindergarten, the school looked a lot different, that's for sure. There was no turf. The cages were different.
Did we have cages when you were in kindergarten?
I think so. I'm pretty sure we did. But the main thing that's kind of stayed is the big toy. Like, I just remember everyone called it the big toy. And we would always do that. And the grass field had, like, this secret little, like, hut that everyone used to go to and think it was like haunted or whatever. And it's just kind of wild looking back at that and now looking at what we have now and just how different and more just better it's been. Just the facilities are so much better than they used to be, and it's kind of cool to be able to see these kids take advantage of it. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, it sounds like with all the advancements that we have with our improvements of the campus and technology, it's nice to hear that the big toy has stood the test of time and will be here probably long before we're all gone. Okay, so now, you guys have been here a long time. And actually, before we get into the high school years, do either one of you have a favorite teacher or memory of being at the school prior to high school in your elementary or junior high years?
For me, it was probably my kindergarten teacher, ironically. She found out that I had like a eye issue, so I couldn't focus. And so I had to go and do this stuff to get that fixed. And I still keep in contact with her, actually, which is kind of crazy. But Mrs. Sands was her name. My parents keep in touch with her. She still lives around this area and owns like a ranch or something like that. And she was like a big influence on just helping me be able to conquer that problem I had with my eyes and being able to do school a lot better than I was doing it before. So, and I was always the person that she let me stand up during class because I couldn't focus so much. So I had to like be moving, especially when I was little. So that's probably my favorite like teacher in elementary school.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Sammy, do you have
Yeah,
one?
I mean, growing up, obviously I didn't come here, but I guess if I were to give a shout out to a teacher, it would have to be Mr. Easter, Don Easter. He's been here for quite some time. And actually, a funny story. I was sharing an Uber with a random couple on the way.
On the way here this morning?
No, not on the way here this morning, but in general in the area, and we ended up passing CVCS, and they said, wow, that brings back a lot of good memories. And I said, oh, really? Did you go to CVCS? And they said, yeah, back in the early 80s. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I graduated in 2012 and started talking back and forth, getting an idea of what it was like then. They're asking what it was like when I went. And they're like, I wonder if anyone's still there. And I said, did you have a Don Easter as a teacher? And they said, oh, my gosh, you have got to be kidding me. I'm like, he is still there. He is still there. Wow. If you get a chance to go back there to CVCS, go visit Don if you get a chance to, see if he can remember you. So, yeah.
That is great. Don Easter, the GOAT.
He's the Cal Ripken Jr. of CVCS.
He is the Cal Ripken Jr. of CVCS. Oh, that is so great. And for those listening to episode 5 here on the CVCS podcast, we are recording this episode at the nice early 7 a.m. And so just to let you guys know, we could be a little bit more discombobulated than some of the other episodes. Or it could just be the fact that we have 2 of the greatest lefty pitchers of all time in the podcast. And, that's a neat thing. I say that, and it might sound jokingly, but it's dead on serious when we talk about left-handed pitching. Although we've had really great left-handers over the years. This is going into my 19th season here, and a couple years before you guys both emerged onto the scene in high school, we had a senior left-hander that was the ace pitcher, Ryan Piquel, which you guys will know a few years later. We played with the brother, Kyle Piquel. Mm-hmm. But Ryan was quite the lefty ace, and coming into my first season was a senior that we could really lean on and pitched in some big games for us. You guys came in the mix. DJ Saturius joined, and that was quite a tandem with AJ as a 1-2 punch. We had other great lefties in the program. Forgive me if I can't think of everybody, but I know we've had, Logan Hall came through, Jacob Juarez, Ryan Keppel. We've had just last year, Ronan Canty was quite a lefty for us. And it's just really, when you look back on it, and then just pitching in general, we've had some big right-handed arms too. Guys that have ended up, getting drafted, and guys that were, major, contributors at the collegiate level as well. But you guys have just really kind of stood the test of time with some of the neat records that we'll discuss in a little bit. But so now we're past the early years, the kindergarten to 8th grade, and now it's time for high school, freshman years, and moving forward into that. Sammy, your freshman year was 2009, mm-hmm. And so well, that's the spring, right? So the fall of 2008, 2009 is your freshman year. The program was a lot different than it is now.
I'd say so, yeah.
Give us a little bit of just kind of history on how that first freshman year was for you.
Yeah, so I know nowadays just seeing the program at where it's at now, it's incredible. You know, you got your JV team, you got everything from, you know, freshman team all the way up to your big varsity team. When we started, I think there might have been in the entire program 15 people at the most, with maybe 3 or 4 players from each grade level of high school. And for us, I know a lot of our training was just the facilities that we had here with the somewhat even grass field out there, and then the cages that we had, and just a lot of our conditioning was running to and from the field there at the Haas, and just, you know, I felt like it was really gritty starting out. Like, you know, obviously you had your J. Sarahs, you had your Capos with their well-established facilities, which we're now very lucky to have, but I felt like back then you really had to put in your work. You really had to you know, put your money where your mouth was if you were playing, because there's only 15 of you, and it really required you to be versatile. It required you to, you know, when your number's called, really step up. Because I know one thing that your dad used to say a lot when I was pitching, and I was the only left-handed player as a freshman, he'd be like, well, if you don't do that well, we'll just have to put in the other lefty. And I said, we don't have another lefty. He said, that's exactly my point.
That sounds like a Bonilla senior.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And, you know, coming off of the fall of 2007 into the 2008 season, which would have been your 8th grade year, that was just one of 2 losing seasons that we've had here. We just had, coming off 2024, this last season, we had a losing season. Okay. But in 2008, a little bit different look to that, with 11 kids on the team at that point. And quite a difference in the strength of schedule and all that. And then you came in. We grew a little bit that year. We really started to grow, I would say, around that 2010 area, moving into then when AJ became a freshman. You were a senior. Do you remember, AJ, your freshman year? Did we have JV yet, or was that the first year of JV, or did we start that your sophomore year?
I think it was my sophomore year.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it was my sophomore year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sammy, now we're in the 2010 season. You know, you had some opportunities to contribute in the freshman year, but now sophomore year is kind of, you know, we have Nico Nechtel as our ace, and you've really sort of emerged as quite the pitcher. You are starting the year dubbed as our number 2. I mean, we have a big senior right-hander. Yeah. He went on to play college in Covenant, Georgia University. But Sammy, that record still holds today. In 2010, you won 11 games, one of which was in the second round of the CIF. Yeah. How did that feel like? How did that? I mean, did you know going into that season you were going to win that many games, or how?
I did not anticipate that at all. I knew at the start that Nico was going to be the number 1, and then you had mentioned, hey, you have an opportunity to be the number 2 in this situation, and excuse me. And with that, I realized, okay, first season wasn't all that hot, so let's put a lot of work into making this next season better. And it's like I mentioned before, when you get your number called, you gotta put your money where your mouth is and really perform. And I think we were playing at J. Sarah for one of the tournaments when it was one of those spots where I can't remember exactly who, but someone, I guess their arm wasn't too good, and they're like, hey, we need you to start warming up. And I feel like that was sort of the pivotal moment where it was an opportunity to really establish myself and just go out there, and at the end of the day, it was just executing pitches, whether it's bullpen, whether it's a big game. It's the same thing at the end of the day. It's just a matter of how much pressure you're really wanting to put on yourself.
Oh, that's awesome. And, 2010, we go to the quarterfinals. 2011, we go to the quarterfinals. Now you are our bona fide ace in the 2011. We go to the quarterfinals. 2012, we finally pushed through.
Finally.
We have AJ Discenzo as a freshman coming onto the mix now. You're a senior. There are some other great seniors in that class. We have Jason Carpenter and we have Kyle Paquel. And just what a neat experience for us to get to that championship game in 2012. AJ, what are some memories for you in that freshman year? What was the program like for you, and how did it differ from Sammy's 09 freshman year?
I had more guys. That's the first thing. We probably had around 20, 22, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know the exact number, but I think the one thing that was similar, though, was that gritty nature, especially with our seniors there. I mean, they were pretty honest about just getting everything organized, making sure you got all the stuff out when it was supposed to be out. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of us when we had our turn to be the seniors or the upperclassmen. And the one thing I do remember, though, in the cages, where these kids now, they have, like, a place to sit, and you don't have to worry about getting hit with a ball or anything. Like, I remember Jonesy was throwing BP, and we would have to sit behind the L screen, and I swear every time one of us would get hit, and we would, like, bet on who would get hit. So it would just, like, bounce off, and then, oh, here we go, and someone would get nailed in the back or in the helmet or whatever. And just little things like that kind of, like, made us a little tougher, too, in understanding, like, all these other guys get all these great opportunities, all these great facilities, and we're like, you know what, like, let's just go show them that, yeah, they might have all that stuff, but we're better, and we're a little more grittier. When the game's on the line and it's a close game, we're going to have the advantage. That was one thing that I remember, just always having that mindset of if it got tough and gritty, we were going to be the team coming out on top. And I think that kind of was that tone was set by Sammy's grade and the guys, the junior class below them. And I think that kind of just resonated with the rest of the guys. And obviously, after that year, we went to another 2 CIF championships, so that obviously worked. So it was cool to see that.
Yeah, listening to you guys talk, I mean, I remember just the mental toughness that those teams exhibited, which really helped catapult us to some big success. And you guys are a huge part of manifesting what we now have in today's baseball program with the nicer facilities. Not that we're as nice as maybe some schools in the area, but you know, compared to when you guys were here, we've really upgraded quite a bit. AJ alluded to the cages. The cages used to be closer to the big toy.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, this is like CVC history, you know, and so hopefully you guys will get and appreciate more what we have. So one of the things is the cages were close to the big toy. There was only 2 tunnels, and they were only 7.5 feet wide per tunnel. Yeah. If you guys think about it, we have 3 tunnels now, and those 3 tunnels are 13 feet wide each. So you're looking at almost double. So what AJ was talking about was basically tons of ricochets from the fence line or the poles and just dotting people on the side. So they're behind the net, so they're safe from any kind of true danger as far as being killed by a ball or concussed. But just, you know, those nice peppers off the side, the back, you know, the shoulder, the triceps, which always, you know, wakes you up a little bit. It's better than a cup of coffee in the morning. These guys were tough, you know, and we've really come a long way since then. So Sammy, you know, we talked about the 10 season with the 11 wins. You end up having 29 wins in the. No, I'm sorry, 30 wins in your career, which is also a school record. So your other seasons were very strong too. That 2012 season, we get to the CIF championship. Tell me, let's take that whole day, right? I remember, and AJ's part of that. We meet here at school. The bus is arriving. I think it's in the afternoon because our game, I believe, was a 4:00 game at UC Riverside.
Yep.
Representing Division VI CIF championship game. The bus ride, we got guys loaded up. We're putting the bags in. Everybody's pretty excited. You come onto the bus and there's a memorable speech. Can you walk us through that? What was that all about?
I'd be happy to paint a picture as far as that goes. So if we're to start off, prior to actually getting on the bus and the aforementioned snacks, I did not have a single thing to eat that day. So I woke up, and you know as well as anyone that, junior year and then some of my senior year, I would experience a pretty good amount of adrenaline and nervousness to the point where I would actually sometimes throw up before games because I got that nervous. I remember you used to take Pepto-Bismol to the games specifically for that.
We anticipated it.
And, you know, with it being our first CIF championship opportunity, it came back, and I was like, okay, this is the day that we really showed them what we're made of. And, you know, at that point, like I said, we had our senior tee earlier that day. Didn't eat anything then. Still felt nervous. Didn't talk to any of my classmates. I'm like, hey, I got to focus, but I also got to be here, so please don't talk. So we eventually get to the point where we're getting ready to go on the bus, and, you know, I got enough change to get essentially a bag of Ruffles and a Snickers bar. So everything's loaded up, and for me, being the starter, I feel like, okay, I got to do something to get the people going. So I get on the bus. Everyone's already sat down, and I look up, and I go, okay, everybody, I got my Ruffles. I got my Snickers. Now let's win ourselves a championship. That was a great bus ride there.
That was a great bus ride, and that fired everybody up. I remember that. So, I mean, AJ was on the bus for that.
Yeah,
so
that was epic.
Remember that. And
there were some other words, but not for the podcast.
So now we're there. I remember, now 2012. I'm not a rookie coach anymore, but that's still early in my years. I think I'm in my early 30s. It's like my 5th year of coaching, and it's a big game. And I even felt a little discombobulated. I didn't have my lineup correct yet, and see, there's media and there's everybody wants multiple lineups for the broadcast and this and that, and it's just different, right? Things start to speed up on you a little. And even with some of my background in baseball, professionally, collegiately, it was a neat moment to be coaching in a championship game. That was something that I had never experienced before. And I could imagine you guys out there stretching, trying to keep things the same. We try to remind you guys to keep your composure and your toughness. The bases are still 90 feet.
Yep.
The mound's still 60 feet 6 inches. We still got to get 3 outs, every inning, and we got to score more than the other team if we're going to try to win this game. I remember in the first inning, Sammy, there was a mistake that was made and an unearned run scored for the other team, and we ended up being down 1-0 after that first inning. You beautifully ended up keeping them at bay for 1 run. I believe you struck out 13 guys that game, and just tell me, what are you thinking? What are you remembering as the innings are going and you're really getting dialed in and we're still down? What inning did we tie the game?
So I think there was some back and forth between us and Desert Christian. I know that they drew first blood. They scored first. I think we might have answered right back the following inning, just knowing Carpenter with just how effortless it seemed like he was able to get on base and steal bases and then just find a way to come in. And then I believe that they had another run come across in the 4th or the 5th. But at that point, we ended up pulling one of our base running plays on the other team, 5th or 6th inning. And, it was a lefty on the mound for them as well. And they weren't ready to basically defend against our play where both of us took off at the same time. And they ended up trying to hose our guy at second while our guy from third was scoring, and I believe the throw from the pitcher ended up actually going into center field, so that's what ultimately caused us to tie the game. But as I was on the mound and pitching, I'm like, hey, we're only this many outs away from winning, so my job, is just keep dropping that number of outs, just doing everything I can, every pitch. Everything doesn't have to be a strikeout. A lot of them were, but however I can get these guys out is what my job is right now. And that's the one thing I'm focused on right now. Is it nice to have a crowd for a championship game that's either cheering you on or giving you crap from the other side? Yeah, it fuels you. It fuels you. But at the end of the day, you got to stick to your job and focus on your one thing.
Your memory, you're so locked in there on the pitching side of the ball that your memory skewed a little bit on the offensive side. You do the cutthroat play that you're alluding to, tied the game in the 5th. We were 1-1 going into extra innings of that game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and CIF rules were a little different in those days. There was just the 10 innings a week rule. So,
that's right.
if you recall, you closed out the semifinal game, which was against St. Margaret's, and then that sent us to the championship game.
Yeah.
So the 10-inning rule did not have any pitch count to go with that. So you were at 118 pitches after 7 innings. You were begging me to go into the 8th. You had signed for a Division I college scholarship to Eastern Tennessee State.
That's right.
And I just felt, I know you wanted it bad, and I just felt that it wasn't in your best interest for your future career to let you keep going out there with that high of a pitch count. And now today, you wouldn't even have been allowed to throw the 7th inning because you were already at
so many pitches.
You can't go at 110. You're completely done. But what a fun game. AJ, if I remember, you end up getting into that game for either a defensive replacement or I had you bunt. Do you remember what was that memory for you in that game?
I just remember Andre Anderson getting on base as a freshman, which is wild. Think back about that stuff. And I came in to lay a bunt down to get him over, I think. I don't know if he got on second or if he stayed on first. I don't have that vivid of a memory of that part of it, but I just remember I got in for a bunt, and then that was kind of my day. But
did you get the bunt down?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Of course you did.
Yeah. But yeah, that was
something that we struggle with in today.
Okay. Don't understand it, but it is what it is. But yeah, we were very close that day, and it was just, I just remember there's still a picture up somewhere where everyone's just like not happy about it. And especially as a freshman, I knew I had 3 more opportunities to get that game back. And I just felt really bad for the seniors because I knew that game was very winnable. And it just didn't, God obviously just didn't have it in our path to win that game. But I thought Sammy's performance was, I just remember watching Sammy and just being like, wow, this guy's good. And just striking guys out like it was no one's business. But like he said, I think the main reason why the strikeouts were happening was because he wasn't really looking for them. He was just executing his game plan. And obviously Carpenter and Piquel, I just remember those guys just being very, very clutch hitters, like even in the semifinal game. I remember the back-to-back doubles, or I think, it was back-to-back doubles that kind of gave us the lead. Like just little things like that come to mind. But that game, it's funny because once you mentioned the game being 2-0 in the 5th, I'm like, that ain't right. Because I remember us going extra innings. And I was like, oh man, no. But it was just a wild game, and it was fun to be able to be there and experience that as a freshman and just understand, okay, this is what this is like. And it was a good experience overall.
Yeah, it felt like that game was like, maybe like if you relate to football where, you just have possession of the ball. Like you basically dominate the possession of the ball for, 3.5 quarters of the game. But somehow you just don't win. I mean, we were the better team. We felt better. We looked better. We had one of the best pitchers in all CIF on the mound. And there was some bad luck, too. I remember Frenchie hit a ground rule double. Yeah. And if that had not bounced over the wall, then it wouldn't have been second and third. Somebody would have scored. I also remember later in that game, Jason Carpenter hit a beautiful drive into right center. And there was a play at the plate. I don't remember if it was Piquel running or who exactly was running, but there's that. It was on the news, and everybody said, "Look, he's safe." Like we'd see it on TV, but the umpire called him out, which would have given us the lead. And then there was even the bottom of the 7th. I know Parker Koss had haunted him for that whole year because he was a sophomore, and we had second and third, and he was up to bat, and he's one of the clutch guys, and he popped up, and that sent us into extra innings. So there just seemed like 3 or 4 different times that we really could have chipped away or broke it, the tie and got a lead, but it just wasn't meant to be, like AJ said, and me as a coach too, I try to encourage you guys and have a good bus ride home because it's still a beautiful thing and a beautiful season to be able to go to a championship game. And I know how hard that is, so I thought this could be a while before we get back. It's not something that people just generally do every single year. And sure enough, though, Sammy graduates. We have Aaron Anast as our ace, and AJ comes onto the scene as a sophomore, as our number 2, and we're back in a CF championship again.
Yep.
And AJ won 2 big games in the second round and the semifinals to help us get to that championship game that year. And we just ran into a buzzsaw that year. The pitcher was a committed University of Arizona commit. He ended up getting drafted in the 3rd round. He shut us down. I think he did to what Sammy did the year before. That pitcher did to us. I believe we struck out 13 times. Aaron Anast was the only one that had a hit. In fact, he had 2, and the pitcher threw a 2-hitter. But AJ, you had some big outings in that second round and semifinal game. What is your memory on that run for the 2013?
Pretty similar to my freshman year, but the difference was I was a bigger part of it. I think the lessons that these guys kind of brought upon us during my freshman year, I was able to learn. And obviously I played 3 sports my freshman year, which kind of was a setback in a way for me, but also I'm grateful for it because it taught me a lesson. I didn't throw enough. I honestly wasn't really a pitcher until I came into high school. I was more of a guy that can pitch when I was in 8th grade, 7th grade, even in 6th, even when I was little. But that was the year where I was like, all right, I am going to prioritize pitching. I'm going to start going to someone. I'm going to get better. I know I could throw hard. I wasn't throwing as hard as I would have liked the year before because I didn't play catch during the basketball season or the football season. I kind of just zoned out of baseball that year. And so I think that was like the biggest teaching tool was like, okay, I know the mental side of it. Now I need to do the physical side of it. I need to get stronger. So I was going to the gym a little bit more often. It was running, doing everything I could to just get in the best baseball shape I could get in. I think that was the biggest difference. And then obviously on the offensive side, just knew that I wasn't probably going to start every game, but I was ready to go whenever I needed to be in the game. And I just remember in that semifinal game especially, we usually hit for our pitchers, but I think your dad might have talked you into it, or maybe you guys both made the decision to let me hit that game. And I remember giving up a 2 spot in the first inning, and I was very frustrated about that. And I knew I needed to make it up. And I think there was bases loaded in the first inning, and I hit a double, which kind of cleared the bases. And then I had another hit later on in the game that I think I had another couple RBIs or something like that. And then I just shut them down the rest of the game. And I kind of knew from there on, I'm like, all right, that was the teaching of don't give up runs early in playoff games ever again. Do not allow that to happen. I just remember telling myself that. And obviously we didn't win that year. Ran into a really good pitcher who we were told threw 85, but he threw 90.
I learned a valuable lesson not to send 2 high school kids to scout.
Yeah. 90 with a 30 splitter. But, I think that year was just another building block just for especially the kids in my grade, and I think Parker too. I think Parker kind of was like, all right, I know my role now. I'm going to have to lead this team offensively the next year, and these guys like Daniel French, Aaron, Jacob Upton. I mean, there's more I'm probably forgetting, but it was just a very close-knit, good team, but we just didn't quite have enough to just beat that great pitcher that we had to face. So
I remember the game that you hit for yourself because we didn't always do that. And you're absolutely right. So my dad and I had a big conversation about it. And in the age of analytics and lefty versus lefty or righty, platooning, and it was just the good old fashioned hunch, and we were right. We had a hunch that you were going to help yourself in that game, and I remember that double for a couple RBIs was huge. So now we're in the 2014. This is the year that we break through and we win a CF championship. All right. Before we talk about the championship game, you can't get to a championship game if you don't win the semifinal game, right? And you got to get hot. I mean, it's the I guess cliche. I mean, you can't win the championship game if you don't win round 1, and then you just got to go day by day. But we're hot. We've experienced. A lot of guys returning who have been part of multiple CIF championship runs. They're confident. But that semifinal game was very, kind of reminded me a little bit of the 2012 semifinal game. Just two incredible games. The 2012, when Sammy was a senior, we were at home, but we were the team on the road because we were playing St. Margaret's. And most listeners probably know that St. Margaret's actually shares San Juan Sports Park, with us. So they were the third base dugout. We were the first base dugout. Aaron Anacid started that game and was pitching beautifully until the fifth inning, and he gave up the lead going into the sixth. We were down 2 runs. We're down 3-1 going into the last inning, top of the seventh. Sammy came in to shut it down so that we minimized the damage, but we were now 2 runs down. Yeah. And Sammy, you could help me remember this, but I know that I believe another hunch, you got on base with a nice bloop. Like flare into left center.
You did, and immediately switched me out for base
runner.
And
I got a pitch runner in there. And then Jacob Upton works a walk, and it's first and second.
Yep.
There was 2 outs, by the way, so we're 1 out away from being eliminated in that game.
Down to the last strike.
And Jason Carpenter crushes one off the right field wall. The runner at second scores easy. Upton's trucking around because he had walked. He was on first. He rounds third. My dad holds him. It would have been a play at the plate with 2 outs. Their first baseman, would have had to make a good throw to home and put the tag. The general rule of thumb with 2 outs is you win or lose at the plate there. But my dad, who was coaching third base, held him. And I was, oh my goodness, how did he hold him? We should have just tied the game there or lose the game there.
Yeah.
It's really tough for 2 out knocks to win games or whatnot. But my dad had a hunch, just like he had a hunch about AJ, and he had a hunch, and he held him. Kyle Piquel comes up, hits the most beautiful line drive single up the middle. Carpenter was at second after hitting that double. Upton scores, Carpenter scores. We take the lead. Sammy goes out for the bottom of the seventh. 1, 2, 3, snap, fastball, hammer, changeup, and boom, we go to the CF championship. Now we're AJ's year, his junior year. That is at Crean Lutheran.
Yep.
What a battle that is. DJ Saturius is on the mound for us. Gets into some trouble late in the third. I believe he threw 3 and a third inning, so I took him out in the fourth. Chris Despars goes in and shuts them down. We're in a tie game. 4th, 5th, 6th inning go by. We go into the 7th inning. Chris Despars looks like he's starting to tire a little bit. They get 2 runners on with 1 out. I go to our sophomore, Dylan Baird. Dylan Baird ends up getting the first guy out. Now there's 2 outs, 2 runners on. He walks the next guy. There's bases loaded, 2 outs. Gets to a full count. We're in a tie ball game. Crean Lutheran's bottom of the 7th. Dylan Baird throws. As you know, we would rate our velo every pitch, and as Dylan Baird's sophomore year, that was the fastest pitch he recorded of the year. 89 miles an hour, right down the middle. Batter takes it, and now we go into extras. Or Eric Fukuda, Taylor Fajardo come through there. I know Parker had a couple good hits. The table set that, and we end up winning in extra innings there. So just 2 amazing semifinal games that you guys experienced to get you guys to the championships.
Yeah.
Now we're at the championship. AJ, take it away.
Okay.
Sammy, did you know about this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm eager to hear.
So ironically, I think our game was at 6 in the later at night, and the night before, I stayed up super late, and I don't know why I did this, but I think we ended up TPing someone's house or something. I don't know. It was something weird like that. And I just remember coming home at 1, and my dad's like, "What are you doing?" And he's just looking at me like I was an idiot. He's like, "Why are you still up?" And I'm like, "The game's not till 6. I'm good." That's just the way I treated most games. Is I didn't really put too much pressure on myself. It was more that 2-hour frame before the game where I would have my methods of what I would do and get locked in and kind of just envision what I would want to do. I know that we had a little seminar with this lady recently on just what you do before games and stuff, and a lot of it kind of resonated and made me think back to like me really seeing the game in my head. Like, all right,
like
imagine yourself.
Visualizing?
Yeah, imagine yourself on the mound. Imagine other players there. Imagine celebrating with them after. Like all those little things that nobody really thinks about. I don't know. I was weird like that. I would just have a very visual brain before games, and that was one thing that I just remember doing like extremely well that day, and I just was very in a good mind space. And once we got into the later innings, I remember me and Tucker Hathaway were sitting on a cooler, and I look up at the scoreboard, and I think we were winning at the time. I think it was like 2-0 or something. And I just remember I'm like, these guys aren't getting a hit. And they were all so nervous to tell me that. I just remember, because everyone always says, don't say nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, dude, like these guys are not on my level. And I just remember having that mindset of just, I'm not even going to give up a hit. But at the same time, I told them, like, if I do, it doesn't matter because we're winning this game. And I just remember telling myself, even before that game, I am not losing another CIF championship, and it's not going to be because of me. Like, I am going to dominate these guys. If it's 5 innings, if it's 4, if it's 7, I don't care how many innings I throw. I'm putting us in a position to win the game because I knew our bullpen was good enough to finish the game if I didn't go, like, long. But I didn't want to give up a run. That was, like, my main focus is, like, I'm just going to keep putting up zeros because if they can't score, they can't win. And once that kind of happened and we won, like, everyone's always talking about, like, the no-hitter with me and stuff when we talk about that game. And for me, it's cool. It's like a little cherry on top. To me, it was more, okay, there's guys behind me that really wanted this moment just to win the game. And for me, that was the beauty of it. It was just the win, not necessarily the stats, not the – like, I had 2 strikeouts that game. Okay, doesn't matter. We still won. So they could say whatever they want about my strikeouts. And that was something that I think really made it easier for me. And just in the playoffs in general, that's the way I thought about the game. Like during the season, maybe you have a little fun when you're playing your league opponents and you know you can get a bunch of strikeouts and you kind of think about that before the games and stuff. But during the playoffs, I was just like, all right, I got to execute, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Sammy, just sticking to the game plan, executing pitches, taking 1 inning at a time, not trying to do too much, just sticking to what you know and what you do best. And that happened to be what happened that day. So
yeah, that was a beautiful memory. You know what I love? I love the little details. I didn't know that you had stayed up late and TP'd somebody. Yeah. I didn't know in Sammy's senior, I didn't know that landed on senior T.
Yeah.
But we still do. That's a tradition we've always done, you know, and senior T is still a tradition. I didn't know that was something that happened that day. Yeah. So it's just really neat to hear these other little details. AJ, we defeated Sierra Canyon in that championship game. You know, I remember the dog piles. I remember like just the excitement. What one of my most favorite memories as a coach ever. You know, and even just not even like playing days and coaching days. Just one of my favorite baseball memories. Period. Was that CIF championship game. AJ threw the beautiful no-hitter. You know, Sammy, I know you had thrown a couple no-hitters in your career, but not in a playoff game for sure.
That's right.
But you know, it was it's just such a neat thing that happened. And I remember the very last play. It was a like jam shot. Yeah. Kind of like a swinging bunt, and it was to the third base side a little bit, and now as AJ said, we played the night game that year, so now at this point it's like almost 9 p.m. and it's the UC Riverside. The grass is dewy, you know, it's just getting moist, and so he's going over there to pick up the ball, and his left foot gives out on him, and I remember thinking to myself, oh no, there it goes, like the no hitter's gone, and like. AJ basically throws from a sitting position on his butt and just goes, pew, and like 3/4 sidearms it over there. Nice. And great stretch. I believe Andre Anderson stretches it. It's a bang play. Umpire was fired up too. You know, we don't have a video replay, so boom, and there's the no, and we go for the dog pile. And it was just an exciting moment. Man, it's just so fun to have you guys here. I wish we had we had to get you guys on as a regular guest because I don't think we're going to have enough time to really dive into all the things I wanted to. But, we were talking about great pitchers, and you guys are two of the best. For almost 10 years, you literally were 1 and 2 in every single record. Career wins, career strikeouts, individual wins, strikeouts, ERA. AJ had a season where he flirted with a sub-1 ERA. Sammy has a career 133 strikeouts, which AJ was second on that list with 97 until Hunter Long came along and now owns the second. He took AJ, so he's sandwiched between you. And it's just so many exciting things. AJ has the most postseason wins in our school history, and that might stand for a very long time. Yeah. He has 6 CIF playoff wins. Wow. Sammy, you're 5.
Okay.
So it's really, really neat to think about just the high leverage games that you guys pitched in. And then there's a little bit of luck factor that goes in moving forward because, we had other great potential. I remember Dylan Baird, senior year, ended up having a little bit of an injury that sidelined him. He still had a nice senior year coming back in that second half strong, but just never really went as strong as we thought. Andre Antone, his senior, there was buzz about him getting drafted. He was up to 93 miles an hour as a junior, and he's this big, strong guy. He started to really feel, multiple secondary pitches. He doesn't have a good senior year because he has to have Tommy John, so he doesn't even pitch, an inning or two. You have guys, Josh Randall, tons of buzz about him, and out of high school, didn't end up pitching because of a back injury swinging. Obviously got drafted out of college, and he's a third rounder just this past draft.
Yeah.
But they didn't make the impacts in their high school or their senior years the way that you guys did in your later years. And some of that is a little bit of God thing. It's a little bit of a luck, a little bit of plan. His plan. Some of it is also just your tremendous talent and mental toughness. You guys both went on to play college. AJ had multiple offers for Division I. There was some issues there back then with the SAT or ACTs, which now they don't even have. You don't have to do it.
Wow.
So it's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Sammy, you have the Division I scholarship at Eastern Tennessee. Let me start with you, Sammy. So both of you had precarious college careers. Sammy, you pitched for 16 colleges?
It felt like it,
right? So kind of just go through the college. What colleges did you pitch at?
Yeah, so if I were to start that, it was 2 years at East Tennessee State, and that was a great crew. We won our conference
the Sun Belt
first
conference,
year.
Right?
Yeah, we won that first year, and just that jump from high school to college is such a difference because, high school, ideally you're the best on your team. But as you've experienced even as a professional, getting to the levels you got, every level you go up was the best of everyone from the prior level. So each time you level up, you have to prove yourself and almost reinvent on yourself every single level you go up. And Division I, if you go there, you go to play, and that is your full-time job, essentially. And for that, I was good, and so was everyone else on my team. So from that point, you realize at the end of the day, do you want playing time? Of course, but at the end of the day, your goal is to win a championship. So while I did get some chance to play there, not as much as I ideally wanted, but at the same time, in reflection, you realize the coach's job is to put the best people on the field. And at that time, there were better people than me. So from that, you do what you can to help your teammates since you're on the same team go for that championship. So we ended up doing that. I spent the next year at a place called Providence Christian College up in Pasadena. It was literally like a startup school.
Okay.
So we built our own bullpens. We built
that's a neat experience.
Yeah, we literally practice in public parks with throwdown bases as a college, as a startup college, and we didn't even have like an NAIA affiliation, so we were just playing whoever wanted to play us, including.
You guys were like freelance.
Wow. And we played against Cal State Dominguez Hills a couple times,
nice.
It was everything from there from a college that was based out of Saboba. So we played.
So that's a huge difference. I mean, you're going from a very strong mid-major conference, Sun Belt Conference, Eastern Tennessee, to basically a startup college that's one of the smallest colleges in the country.
Yeah.
And then where?
And then from there, I was able to play in the summer for the California Collegiate League for several seasons. From there, I was able to then jump ship to a school called Cumberland University out in Lebanon, Tennessee. And that school, that town is known for two things. One, that's where Cracker Barrel was founded. They're in Lebanon, Tennessee. And then the other thing is their head baseball coach, Woody Hunt, who is kind of like, he's kind of like the Don Easter of Lebanon. He was the head coach there forever. In fact, and it's been recorded that he not only coached initial players, but he would also coach their kids. He coached there for 40 plus years to the point where the player's son would come into the program and he'd be like, "Oh, I could tell you stories about your dad from those playing days." But yeah, we ended up playing 2 years there. We ended up.
And that's a great school.
Oh, it was a fantastic school.
I think I told you I had heard of that school because when I was in the Orioles system in 2003, we had a first-round draft pick left-handed pitcher that came from Cumberland, and he was a bounce back from University of Miami to Cumberland. And I had never heard of it to that point, but he was telling the same thing, that it was just an awesome place to play. Yeah,
but no, and the head coach there, Woody Hunt, he wanted to see you grow just as much as a man as he wanted to see you grow as a ball player, and I feel like there's a lot of great parallels in the way you coach as well through that. So that was in a nutshell what my college career was like.
Well, thanks for sharing, Sammy. Yeah. That's really neat. And then AJ, I know you had a great senior campaign as well. Like I said, you were flirting with a sub-1 ERA going into the last couple starts. Then you go off to Midland University, Nebraska.
Yep.
And how was your experience there, and then what led you to come back home?
I think the baseball side of things was fine. Wasn't as I felt like I learned more in high school than I did there. There's a lot of things that the coaching staff tried to do, and I saw their perspective of it, and it just wasn't working. We had 12 p.m. practices, and I had an 8 a.m. class the next day. So I'm going to bed at like 2 a.m. And I'm like half awake in my English class or my math class or whatever it is. And that was kind of just something that I was like, okay, this is not really in my control. But at the same time, I was so tired all the time. And I think.
Wait, let me. Did I hear you correct? You had 12 a.m. practices?
Yeah, 12
like midnight?
Yeah, midnight.
So what about the baseball?
Okay. But yeah, so the baseball side of things, definitely a good learning experience. Learned how to deal with cold, which honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be once I kind of knew how to adjust to it. I remember pitching in a game in Dallas, bases loaded, no outs, and I closed that game out with no runs. So that was a good experience for me, just to kind of be able to deal with that weather and pitch in snow for the first time, and just being able to go on these 13-hour bus rides, being a part of a 2-hour delay in a game, and learning how to handle that. So that's where the good experiences came out of it, just the tough grind of things, like Sammy was kind of applying to earlier, of just, all right, this is not really, I don't want to say it wasn't fun, but it was more of like a job. Like he was saying, like you're not here to just have fun and play baseball. Like it's about winning.
Right.
And whereas in high school, you're trying to develop, you're trying to get ready for those moments, and it's still kind of more of a free, kind of fun experience where you're not so worried about just winning. Like you're worried about getting better and learning from the experiences you've had and all that other good stuff. But yeah, overall, that was that. And then decided to leave. Obviously, I had a lot of phone calls with you about it, and decided to go to Saddleback with DJ, and was playing catch with DJ, developed a new pitch over the summer. It was a slider, and I tossed one over to him, and all of a sudden I feel this pain in the back of my shoulder. I'm like, that doesn't feel right. And I just kind of kept throwing through it because I'm like, it's just tendinitis, I'm good. Found out it was torn labrum. Once I found that out, I kind of just contemplated to myself, like, okay, do you want to do this? Like, you're small. You're not the biggest guy in the field. Obviously, you're going to have to work triple as hard to get back, because you have to get back to where you were, and you need to get better than that to compete at the college level. And for me, I just didn't think it was really, I didn't really have the fire and the willingness to do that at that point. So even though I was still young enough to probably pull it off, just didn't really have the mental space to continue. And I think that was a good thing because it led me to coach.
I remember you were redshirted that year, so there was still an expectation that you were going to rehab and try to go back the next year.
Yeah.
And you asked if you could start to coach.
Yeah.
And we at that point had 3 levels, and you came in and was a freshman coach. I think you were 19, about to turn 20 that season, and you fell in love with it, and that's what you're doing now, right? I mean, you're a full-time coach. You coach with CVCS. You coach with CBO. You coach with the Vigilantes. Is there you do some training on the side, conditioning, strength and conditioning training,
all that stuff.
Yeah. So you've really dedicated your life to coaching.
Yeah, I just think now it's about seeing the success of others. Like seeing Josh Randall getting drafted was like awesome. Seeing Andre Antone have a good career at UCI. There's a lot of other kids I'm probably forgetting, but it's just cool to see all these players that have come through our program have awesome success, and being a part of that success along with the other coaches on our staff and even the younger guys in the club teams, seeing them go to other programs and still seeing them have success even though they're not at CVCS. It's still cool to just see all these kids that I've had a part of their career, and seeing them do better than me is almost like more encouraging to me. Like it's great that I had my career, but it doesn't really matter anymore. It's more about what they do, and I think that's to me now is more enjoyable, and I think it was always the plan for me to do what I'm doing now. So I'm very appreciative of that, and even though I probably could have had a longer career, I'm happy that I didn't, because that to me is more important now. And I think even when I was younger, it was like I was obviously a lot more fiery than I am now and a little more intense, but I think having that, like just this,
we all are AJ.
Yeah. But this past summer, the first team I ever coached, it was a club team, a 10U club team. I literally ran into like 6 of them at the beach, and just seeing them all grown up and stuff was just like a surreal moment for me. I was like, oh my gosh, like you're a grown man. Like this is awesome. And they're all successful and doing their thing, going to college. So it just feels good to see that.
Yeah, you're really starting to see through like how my eyes look at it. Like looking at you two here. I love how I've watched you mature as a coach, your knowledge, your style. And you tell me all the time, you guys remember how fiery I was when I was younger, and that I've calmed down quite a bit. But at the same time, I've also learned to adapt and pivot, and I still have a lot of knowledge to pass on. But most importantly, like AJ and I both agree, just like we had our careers, and now the passion is to see people have their careers and go a step further or multiple steps further than we did. Sammy, what are you doing now in life?
Yeah, so right now I'm right now currently a claims adjuster for Progressive Auto Insurance. So I'm in the process of just going down that path and developing that career. Outside of that, I have also taken up a pretty serious hobby of golf to the point where, this last May, I actually got my handicap down to the point where I was able to participate in the first round qualifier for the U.S. Open, which was a lot of fun.
You're tremendous now.
Yeah. And the thing with golf is, as good as you may continually end up developing yourself to be, there's always just the tough days that you got to deal with. And the same method you have for baseball, you take into golf, and it's a pretty pricey hobby, but it is a lot of fun. So
and you get to help people too. I mean, you are a annual participant of the CVCS Athletics Golf Tournament, and I've seen you grow from the early years where you were as bad as I was and slicing balls all over the place and diving, but now you're a scratch golfer. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I also even had a chance to, when DJ was the athletic director over there at St. Anne's, I was able to actually kind of pay it forward to some of the kids there because they had an after-school program for golf. So just being able to take what I've learned from golf and just it's not baseball, but it's still a way to kind of give back, which is really cool.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love hearing all these stories. We're really getting short on time, so we're going to dive into it's going to be some true and false. It's going to be some multiple choice. We're going to just do some questions, a little Q&A. I will tell you that this is a competition, so whoever wins with the right amount of answers will be able to go down to the Eagles Kitchen. You already get a free snack, but you'll have a complete breakfast or lunch of your choosing. Chef Baird will take care of you there, and we'll go down there. So that's going to be that. Let me start off with a true or false, and you both answer. We'll Sammy answer first, AJ answer second.
Okay.
Right? So, true or false? Hausdorfer Field is named after Jonathan Dickens Hausdorfer, who started the company Cars Audi from Germany.
I'm going to say true.
False.
AJ? Answer is false.
Oh, okay.
All right, so one for one. And by the way, there's no phone in. Like when we do multiple choice, like unfortunately I haven't figured out how people can call in yet. So you won't be able to use any kind of help. Yeah. There's no AI. Phones are out. You guys see, we barely have any. This has just been we're just been a blast here. Okay, so question 2, CVCS inaugural year 1971. True or false? AJ.
False.
False.
Correct. We just
3,
celebrated
right?
73. We just celebrated
73.
our 50th anniversary last year in 2023. Nice. Okay. All right. We're on. Question 3. Sammy, in 2016, Dylan Baird was CVCS's right-handed pitcher ace of the team. True or false?
You said 2016, right?
2016.
True.
AJ.
True.
Correct. All right, we're seeing who knows the program now too. It's awesome. Okay. True or false? AJ. Parker Koss in a single season has the most RBIs in the history of our school with 49. Is that true or false? It actually doesn't matter how many RBIs it is. Is it Parker Koss, true or false, RBI leader in a single season?
I want to go false.
Sammy.
I'm going to go with true.
AJ's correct. It's false. Andre Antone is the RBI leader in 2017. Woo! Okay, great. Okay. We're going to go to multiple choice. All right? I'll give you 3, A, B, C, and then you guys can pick one. All right? We're going to go first with CVCS, the Coveted Athlete of the Year award. In 2010, was the Athlete of the Year Johnny Miles?
No.
A. B. Jonathan Dickens Hausdorfer? Or C. Nico Nechtel?
Let's see.
It's C.
C.
Sorry, Johnny.
Correct.
Johnny.
Correct.
Johnny wasn't even in high school, was he?
No, he graduated
Yeah.
in 09.
All right. Good. Okay. Multiple choice. CVCS left-handed pitching aces in the last 20 years. How many have there been?
20 years.
A, 2. B, 5. C, 7.
20 years. I'm going to go with 5.
I'll
That's
go
B.
with 7.
All right. AJ's correct. AJ's dominating Sammy here on the history.
I'm getting cooked right now.
So obviously, I'm sitting with 2 aces, right? 2012 and 2014, 15. 11, 12, 14, 15 aces. We had 06-07 ace Ryan Piquel.
Okay.
All right, that's 3. We had 2019 ace Jacob Juarez. And 2022 ace Ryan Keppel. 5. All right. Okay. Another multiple choice. This one's tough. Well, they're all tough for Sammy, but Back to the CVCS Athletes of the Year. Only one time in the school history, which is obviously 50-plus years, there is a parent and son tandem. It's actually a mom and a son who have both been awarded CVCS Athlete of the Year, respectively. Is it A, Andrew Johnson and Andy Johnson's the mom, B, Andre Argys or Anna Argys, which is his mom, or C, Aiden Canty and his mother, Carol Canty?
And they all went to CVCS. Oh, you can't tell
One,
me. Okay.
one of the answers, the son and the mother have both been CVCS. And we're not in the kitchen, so you can't go run over there and look. We're Jim.
I know Argys is one. I just don't know if Andrew is one. I'm going to go with Andrew. I don't know why. I just have a feeling.
Okay,
I'm going to go with our guys.
AJ again.
Because I knew his mom went here.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Argys' mom went here.
Neither of the other moms actually went here. Andy Johnson was the only mother that went here. Okay. Another question, and we're gonna go multiple choice on this one. No, we're gonna switch this one up and just go fill in the blank.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now really getting tough. AJ's quite ahead here, so fill in the blank is gonna be double the points. Try to let Sammy catch up here.
Double or nothing. I love it.
All right.
Okay.
Sammy, you can answer first here for double the points.
Mm-hmm.
The first time that we beat Santa Margarita High School, which was a big win for us at that time, was the year after you left. It was in 2013. It was a regular season spring CIF sanctioned game. Very big win. It was a lefty pitcher who started that game, and it was not one of you two. Sammy, for double points, who was the left-handed pitcher that started that game?
I'm going to say DJ Sartorius.
Correct, DJ Sartorius. All right, so now Sammy's not down by 4; he's down by 2. All right, but now I gotta give AJ a chance, right? So, okay, AJ, who is the CVCS career all-time hits leader, and what year did he graduate? For double points. Maybe we can get the music.
It's between two people, but I think I know who it is. I'm going to go Parker Koss, 2014.
Correct. Oh, AJ's back up, 4 points. This is going to get tough. We only have a couple more here, okay? Sammy, who is the school's single-season home run leader, and what year did he graduate?
I'm going to say...
Oh, by the way, double points, but if you feel like you need multiple choice, we can go single point.
I think I might have it. I'm going to say Nathan Anton, 2011.
Yep.
Boom. He's back, down by 2. Okay, we will go the last question here, all right? This will be the CVCS win streak in a single season. Okay. What year was it? It was 13 consecutive wins is the longest winning streak in a single season school season. 13. What year was that? Sammy, this is for 3 points. You're still down 4.
Yeah. You said 13 straight wins?
In a single season, 13 straight wins.
I think that was 2012.
Wrong. 2017 season.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay, this is bad. Well, a bonus round, last one. All right, because AJ's won this, so he gets a free lunch from the Eagles Kitchen. But this one will be just for fun. I'll give you 5 points so you could shoot that. Sammy.
Yep.
The league championship streak for CVCS baseball is now 14 consecutive league championships. Mm-hmm. What year did that start?
That would have been 2010.
2010, I was going to say, if you need a hint, you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Well, it is 2024 too.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's pretty easy.
Nice. Okay. Guys, you know what? This has been such a pleasure to have you guys back. We talk about the accolades and how great of CVCS pitchers you guys are, but that doesn't come close to the just kind of people that you guys are. You are just great young men, genuine. You have big hearts. You want to give back to the community. I just wish you guys the best, and please come back and visit us again. And we'll see you both, I'm sure, out there at the field or at some point, or at least at the golf course, Sammy, right?
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for coming. I want to thank Joseph Jasper for our producer for the podcast, our athletic prefect, Luke Leisengang, for just making this possible. Sammy, AJ, you guys are studs.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Thank
Been a
you.
pleasure.
It was fun.
This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK-12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening, and stay tuned for more.